and welcome to card number 5. I started off with this little image from the Penny Black Mimi and Miles stamp set. As always, inked up with Memento Tuxedo Black ink stamped onto CC Designs cardstock. And then I started off with my Copic markers coloring in her skin. So I started with the E50, then I went in with the E01 and then my E13. And then I blended the E13 with the E01. Just like so, super quick and simple. Images like this are so easy to color. So then I blended those back together with the E50, my lightest. Just small circular motion just to blend out any lines and to even everything out. And then for her little cheeks, I used the R20 and just kept them fairly defined circles. Again, just kind of the way the image was, it seemed rather fitting. And then very, very lightly blended that out with the E50. Hardly any blending at all. And then for her hair, again, very simple. I started with the E23 and just like I showed, just coloring basically in lines. Not any blending, very, very simple. Yeah. So did the E23 and then I went in with the E25 and then E27 as my darkest. No blending, just drew it in and left it as is. Now for her little ears and outfit, I started with the V91, laid down a little bit of a base, and then I went in with my V93, and then finally V95. Once I've got that down, I blend that back with the V93, and just kind of pulling the color up and blending it, and then back with the V91 to blend everything together. And then for the inside of the ears and the heart, I started with R81. Coloring right over the little dots. It's easier to just color over it and then go back later when you're using Copics if you want to change them to a different color. So I just completely ignored the dots even being there. Just went in with I did R83 and then R85, and then I pulled the color in further with the R83 again, and then finally with the R81 blended everything together. So once I've got that done, I go in with the I went R85, sorry, did little hearts, and then for the green areas I did YG03 and then added the YG25 and didn't even bother to blend them because tiny little areas like that, there's no point. And then for the dots, I just dotted on the YG25 just to give them that green color, just right over the pink, and it pushes the color further into the cardstock. And then for the blues, it's BG000, the color splendor, and you can see I used the color splendor again to push the color further into the cardstock where it went over where the heart was. And then for the shadowing, just W1, a little bit of W00, and that's all there was to it. So once I had the image colored, I used one of my spellbinders. This is the Label 11 dies again. Take that into place so it doesn't shift when I die cut it. Run it through my die cut machine, and then I'm using some Stampin' Up! Crumb Cake cardstock as my card front. And then the pattern paper is from the Echo Park Springtime collection. This has been one of my favorites. I hardly have any paper left from this pack. So figured out my layout, adhered everything down, and then adding some wide grosgrain ribbon from my stash. And when I use ribbons like this, I like to tape the piece to the back of the cardstock and then tie the bow separately, because I wanted the bow to be more on the side, and these make obviously huge bows because this is a really wide ribbon. So gave myself a lot of extra room with that, got everything trimmed, and then I'm going to adhere the main image. So I wanted it to be up on dimensional, so again, took my larger dimensionals, cut them in half. You get more use out of them that way in my opinion, and then you're not wasting like a bunch of extra dimensionals that you don't need. So got that on. Got that adhered to the card. Now for the sentiment, I have very few actual Easter related sentiments, and I kind of went through my stash and finally decided I was just going to make my own. So I grabbed 2 different paper smooches set. The Happy is from the Party Posse stamp set, and then for the Easter I just grabbed my little Alpha Dot stamp set and pulled off all the different letters to spell out Easter. So I inked that up with my Brilliance Graphite Black ink and stamp that onto, this is just the Stampin' Up! Lucky Limeade cardstock. And then the Happy I stamped separately, and it actually took me, I don't know how many tries, because I kept Every time I heat set the ink, I didn't heat set it enough and I was smearing it and it was a mess. Anyway, I deleted all that out because otherwise this video would be way too long. So punched that out with my key tag punch once I finally got it right. Adhered it to the card with more dimensionals, and then finally with embellishments I just grabbed a bunch of different little purple Primas from my stash and then just brads from one of the jars and attached those. And once I've got all those in place, just like so, use my brad setter to set the backs of all of them. Super simple. And then adhere that to the actual card itself. Again, placing tape over the backs of the brads, it just makes the ATG slide so much better. So once I've got that, I can adhere that to the card itself. Again, CC Designs 110-pound cardstock. It's perfect for card bases because it's so heavy. And then of course had to add stickles, so diamond stickles to all the little dots and little hearts. And the card front is done. So then for the inside, again, really simple. I just chose some more pattern paper from the springtime pack and cut them and laid them out similar to the front. And then I just die cut another piece of crumb cake cardstock with the label 11 die, just to give a spot for the person to write something in, and then adhered that to the inside of the card, and that's all there was to it. So as always, there'll be a link in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!